Welcome to my classy joint, where wood meets wood on wood with accents of wood.
Hi friends, I'm Maria Miliora and I welcome you to my channel. Today we're going to talk about spicy perfumes. This is the time actually to talk about them. I know that probably winter months would be better suited to premiere such a collection video, but hopefully, this is kind of evergreen content and you can watch it at will or rewatch it anytime you feel the need for any kind of either refreshing and spiky or maybe smooth and finely milled warm spicy blends. Spicy perfumes is one of my favorite categories in my collection, so this video could go for a long time, so I had to kind of limit myself with how many spicy perfumes I can talk about. There's so many varieties. If you love spices and perfumes, there are like so many places we can go. We can go to more sort of Oriental or Arabic spices. We can go to more of a gourmand, kind of like kitchen cooking spices. We could go to more kind of like like soliflores, like a perfume that is based on one particular flower note. There are perfumes that are actually based on one particular spice note, be it saffron, be it black pepper, be it a sort of chemical composition that is now called pink pepper. So there's so many options there, and there's cardamom. There are like so many particular branches to the spicy perfumes. I kind of tried to round it up to a list of the most spice-centric perfumes that still give you like a bouquet of spices, a variety. And if you're interested in pursuing this any further, we can do like, second edition, third edition, when we focus on more particular note or a particular kind of like branch of spiciness, like in olfactory design. So today we're gonna touch upon all around spicy perfumes, like sort of like the classics. If you haven't tried that direction yet, you will have an opportunity to dab into different things. I got you things that are affordable, more designer, and more niche, so you can kind of like find something to fit your particular line of interests or your wallet, either way. I think no videos about spicy perfumes can be complete without mentioning a cult favorite that has been kind of like a paragon of warm, hot, spicy perfumes for decades, and that would be, as many of you probably already guessed, this is Kenzo Jungle L'Elephant. Did I say L'Elephant? Jungle L'Elephant. Basically the elephant. It has like this amazingly beautiful bottle. Luckily, even after reformulation of this perfume, for those of you who like really see sharp distinction between vintage and modern formulations, the Jungle by Kenzo suffered the least from a lot of modern reformulations that often simplify, lighten, and in opinions of some people, kind of cheapen the sound, like the olfactory profile. In my not so humble opinion, the Jungle by Kenzo is pretty much still there. It's one of the strongest, the longest lasting beast mode perfumes that I've ever tried, and even after all of the reformulations and things like that, it still holds the crown, at least in my book. There are some perfumes that get close to it, but if you're looking for something where you can just do 1, 2 and you're done for a week, especially if you put it on your clothing, that's the one for you. Hot, dry, bright, very powerful, all around spice. That's what Kenzo Jungle is. This is in a way like one of the Bible kind of scents when it comes to Oriental spicy perfumes. I have used up I first started with just sniffing it a little bit because I'm not really a big fan of beast mode perfumes, but eventually, little by little, and it's gonna last you forever, I used up a whole 10 ml decant, and I was dying for that bottle. There was a little bit of like a packaging fetishist in me, so I had to get a full bottle. I did get it, and I absolutely love this scent. Again, you need very little to last you a long time. I would nominate this to be the absolute number one if you're interested in kind of indulging yourself in exploring spicy perfumes. First of all, it's affordable. It can be found in almost in any country online for a decent price. As I said, it has outstanding longevity and sillage. It has cult historic status. So if you start from there, you will know where ton of more infamous and more expensive niche perfumes are actually what are they really based on, because the Jungle by Enzo kind of like shaped the whole generation of spicy perfumes. It was not the most novel idea at the time, but it was definitely a kind of like a standpole. Like, it was just an iconic release that reinvented and reintroduced the power of dry oriental spices into the mass market. The next one is my personal favorite. It is a Noir by Robert Piguet, another historic, now we probably would call it niche house. And the name translates as, I think, black wood or black forest, I'm not so sure. In contrast to a lot of comments that you can find on Fragrantica, I don't find it to be as oily or smoky or resinous as a lot of people say. I agree that all of that is there according to the pyramid and according to the name itself. But to me personally, it is not as dense and liquid. To me, it's more of a like finely milled, like kind of like very, very dry mix of black pepper with other spices in a hot wooden bowl. So definitely the wooden base is there, and I agree some smokiness for sure shapes the profile. But again, to me personally, that Noir by Robert Piguet became my favorite kind of warm, dark, black, peppery, spicy perfume among all that I'll mention today, and like the others that didn't make the cut. Another perfume by Laurent Mazzoni, or so-called Oriental Perfumes, is Scandinavian Crime, which was, I think, renamed from, what was that? It was something devoted to Russian history, but then there was some scandal associated with it, so they renamed the perfume into Scandinavian Crime. If I had to choose, I probably would still go for Robert Piguet, but they're very similar. Though Scandinavian Crime will be an order of magnitude, I think, if I'm not mistaken, more expensive. The packaging, I would say, a little bit more posh for Laurent Mazzoni than Robert Piguet. But if we compare the profiles, at least to me, how they go through time and space and how much they open up, to me they're very similar. I would say the Scandinavian Crime is sort of like a younger sister of Noir by Robert Piguet, because it's a little bit, I don't want to say simpler, it's just a little bit more understandable. It has more of this kind of gourmand sweetness in the heart. It is a little bit more mild, a little bit more finely milled and fit together. Like Noir to me has more of a audacity to it. Those, at least the spices that I hear on my skin from Noir, they are very loud and almost prickly at times. But that's what I like about it. It has a lot of character. The Scandinavian Crime from Laurent Mazzoni, I think the name and the whole marketing of Laurent Mazzoni, it's a little bit more drama in the names and the marketing than an actual perfumes that they produce. The perfumes are surprisingly very mainstream, at least in my book. A lot of them I find to be very wearable, not nearly as controversial as they make it sound to be. Like, if you want to talk controversial or conflicting, cacophonic, contrasting, shocking, I would go for to a Tat Libre d'Orange for that. Like, they deliver in both names, visual marketing, and olfactory designs. But Guerlain Samsara is not as scary as sometimes they make it sound, and I think it's actually a plus. This is sort of these kind of like lip service drama. You can indulge in a little bit of scandal without really suffering the consequences of that. So the Scandinavian Crime, to me, it's sort of like a slightly more mainstream, sweeter, more rounded version of a Robert Piguet Noir. If you have both or you tried both, let me know what you think. Do you think they're actually similar or not? Because on my skin, I often, if I don't compare them just hand to hand, I can spritz one and during the day spritz another one and not even notice much of a difference. And the third sister in this family, these three I find like very, very close. If you have one, you probably don't need the other, but like it gives you an option depending what's your favorite brand or sort of favorite flavor of all around black peppery spice that's surrounded by resinous, darker gourmand notes. That would be Perfume Noir by Serge Lutens. I have a very kind of like thwarted relationship with their perfumes because some of them I absolutely love, as you'll also learn just one perfume down the line. But they are gourmands, be it Arabi, Amber Sultan, Chergui, Jeu de Peau, a lot of their kind of sweet-centric gourmand perfumes I don't like at all and can't wear. Mostly because their sweet vanilla or like their gourmand base is very recognizable. It's very similar between different Serge Lutens fragrances, and on my skin it just doesn't really open up. It really depends on how your skin interacts with their bases. Unfortunately for me, I love their spicy perfumes like Perfume Noir and a few others. We'll talk about it later. But they're outwardly sweet, sugary, jam-like perfumes. They just lay flat, synthetic, this like rounded synthetic sweetness just is smothering me. It doesn't really develop into anything. It doesn't open up. It doesn't show any dimension. So unfortunately, most of their gourmand perfumes, with few notable exceptions, are just fortunately not my cup of tea. So Perfume Noir is a very interesting exception because it does have that typical Serge Lutens sweet gourmand notes, but it heavily black peppered. It's very, very thick coated with dry, hot spices, and that's what saves it and elevates it for me. That makes me feel like I'm drinking really hot, spicy glühwein wine without the tartness or sourness of real glühwein wine, but with the sweetness, in the sort of cinnamony, black peppery, all of that sweetness that is of the hotness of like real coffee, like something that you drink and it almost burns you a little bit, but then it coats it with sugary sweetness of the glühwein wine. I hope that some of you can relate to that kind of compromise. Again, if you are the kind of person who loves gourmands but wants to start diverging a little bit further and maybe add a few accents, one could be oud, another one could be hot spices, try that. I think Perfume Noir definitely walks the line between sweet gourmand and hot spicy perfume. And vice versa, if you're more into dry spices, you don't really like sweetness as much, that heavy spice cloud that surrounds the sweet base of the Perfume Noir fragrance, I think that will help you kind of get some of the comfort of things that you enjoy, but yet explore sort of jam-like sweetness of its base. I do find it to be slightly more different than the Scandinavian Crime by Guerlain Samsara or Robert Piguet Noir for that very reason. This is like a much further move toward jam-like almost syrupy sweetness. Another Serge Lutens that I absolutely love. This is a bit of a wild card. As many Serge Lutens fragrances, to be honest, are. They are about the worst blind buys. So you consider yourself forewarned. They're almost like abstract paintings. You'll either love it because it just touches something within your soul and just cracks it, it opens a new dimension for you, or you will just, it's like, what is this? And walk away. So, not for everyone. Very, very niche in the way that it does or does not work with different people. Skin, with different sensitivities, skins, tastes. But, Vitriol Douillet, I hope I'm saying it correctly. I think I listened to French pronunciation of this one for 10 times. Let's try it again. Vitriol Douillet. Please tell me I got it, at least in the ballpark. Please. Okay. So in translation, I think this is Cruel Carnation? Something like that. And the spice there is truly sharp. I wouldn't say it as hot and dry as some others that I mentioned before. I think because it combines itself with more of an animalic floral heart and base, the opening of Vitriol Douillet, it's a mouthful. I have to form my mouth in the ways I've never tried before when I try to speak French. If anybody shares that impression, please leave a comment. Let me know I'm not alone. So yeah, the spice is much less dry, I think, because there's some animalic, muskier notes in it. So on one sense, it's almost like a needle at the beginning. It's very prickly and merciless, truly cruel. But what's beautiful about this perfume is that on my skin, very, very quickly after this kind of being prickly and combative almost, very quickly this beauty transforms into something so a subject in itself, seductive, slightly animalic, somewhat subdued, but lustful. This kind of subdued, hidden lustfulness that is just being tightly controlled by, I don't know, by the sheer power of cruelty and will not to show your feelings. Some people are like that. So I find this perfume to be that kind of hell bound within a very cold demeanor. And this is what makes it so captivating for me to wear. But I always, to be completely honest, I always worry how it translates to other people who smell it off me, because to me it is one of the most captivating olfactory stories. It does make me feel a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more but I'm not so sure it translates just like that to other people, because of how sharp, prominent, and vibrant the spicy opening is. But if you're into that kind of, black patent leather high heel story, keep it in mind. It also is very affordable right now, and I heard rumors that it's being either discontinued or repackaged. So probably a good time to shop online, maybe on the online discount shops, and see if you can get it for a really good price. The one from my wish list, I only had a teeny tiny little sample. This is Rouge Bunny Rouge Incognito, or it depends from what part of the world you're from. Some people say Incognita. I think it's more kind of Latin form of it, and Incognito, that's the American way. That to me is female Sherlock Holmes. I can't describe it any more clearly than that. No sweetness whatsoever. It's like a theorem about spices. It's so clean, logically constructed, impeccably blended, and so heartless. There is nothing in Incognito that will like caress you, hug you, warm your heart, be empathetic. Oh no, 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 no. This is just like, I almost feel like I want to indulge more in high math. Sort of look back into my older days in hard sciences when I wear it, and it's like my desperate wish for me. It's very hard to find. Rouge Bagny Rouge is Russian British brand. I don't really know where exactly they are based. I think they're based in London, but the creators of the brand have Russian roots, maybe something like that. Don't quote me on that. So they do bring the most interesting fusion of cultural references and approach to making olfactory designs. The Rouge Bagny Rouge perfumes, if those are available to you, I would say in no way less worthy of a niche tag than Serge Lutens, Laurent Mazzoni, Artiste, or Memo Paris. They are truly worth the attention, and I hear literally nobody talk about them whatsoever. If you're in England, if you're in UK territory, probably in Europe, some countries in Europe too, you might not only be able to get them just somewhere, you might actually be able to get them in discount stores, because they kind of come and go. So if anyone ever feels the need to congratulate me with my birthday, now you know. Rouge Bagny Rouge Incognita is just in my very, very, like, the top of my wish list. Absolutely loved wearing the tester. It's no other spice like this. Incredible, but keep in mind, this is not wearable hug kind of perfume. This is female Sherlock Holmes, but I often do feel I deserve it. It's me. It's the reincarnation. That's me. I need to have it. The last one we're gonna close this video with is another cult classic. Unfortunately, this one suffered a lot from reformulations. This is no other than Guerlain Samsara. This is a different take on the same story that Kinzo Jungle portrays. But if Kinzo Jungle somehow managed to preserve the power, the richness, the bright nature of the original recipe, of the original formula, the modern Samsara, for somebody it's a plus, for somebody it's a minus. For me it's a plus. The modern Samsara formulations, I have eau de parfum, they're eau de toilette as well. It's much, much lighter. But to me it is a plus. This is a wearable, dry, it's like hot sand type of spices. It's this dry, spicy oriental perfume that you can wear all day, and it actually works really, really well in the hot weather. It's very rare. For example, I would not recommend anyone ever to wear Noir by Serge Lutens in the hot, especially humid weather, because that sweet jam syrupy note just can kill everything alive. All like DNAs of all live creatures, bacteria and viruses will be damaged in the radius of 50 kilometers. Well, now that I say it like that, it might be not as bad of an idea these days. But when we talk about non-gourmand spices, and Samsara is definitely one of those examples. It's cleaner, it's softer because it doesn't have the heavy brooding sweet notes. So Samsara I definitely nominate as all year round perfume. Those spices warm you when it's cold, and they almost cool you, oddly enough. Just like, sometimes certain spices in drinks almost makes them feel cooler rather than hotter. Samsara, beautiful, easy, breezy entrance type of perfume into the spicy world. I had to limit myself somewhere, so I'm gonna stop here. There are way more beautiful, amazing, iconic, niche, affordable. This. There's so many variations of spice-centric, or at least spicy perfumes. I hope that you'll tell me your options. I'm always on the lookout on the next addition to my collection. It's definitely one of my favorite families of fragrances. So all of your advice is highly welcome. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was somewhat entertaining and at least a tad useful. I'll see you in the next video. Please subscribe and leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts and kind of get your feedback, get more inspiration to maybe make a second part of that. Let me know if you have any other ideas of where we could go with this story about spicy perfumes. If there is enough interest, we'll make a second edition with a different kind of twist to it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.